These are the major seventh or major type chords on the 1, 2, 3, 5 string family, and these will be in E, all on E. We'll start with the basic inversions. The first will be the E, D sharp, G sharp, and B. So that from low to high, it's root, seventh, third, and fifth. First inversion, G sharp, E, B, and D sharp. Next inversion, B, G sharp, D sharp, and E. And last inversion, D sharp, B, E, and G sharp. So we'll start here. This will be the starting place, and we will go to the chords that go this way first, and then go backwards. So the first, the outer reaches would be E, F sharp, A sharp, and D sharp. Take the top voice, move it to C sharp, just like an F sharp chord over E. So the D sharp goes to C sharp, D sharp goes to B, E, F sharp, A sharp, and B. Now back to here, we can take the A sharp, the alto voice, move it to G sharp. This is a plainable sort of voicing. We'll move the top now to C sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, C sharp. Then the soprano voice to B, and then the soprano voice to A sharp. Then we'll go back and we'll start moving the tenor voice. First part will be moving the tenor voice to E, D sharp, A sharp, and C sharp. Then E, D sharp, top voice moves to B, A sharp, and B. Moving downwards, E, D sharp, G sharp, and C sharp. Back to the original, top voice to B, top voice to A sharp. E, D sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Moving the alto voice to F sharp, E, D sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and then up to B, which is a B triad over an E. Moving to C sharp. Now going back, moving the tenor voice, E, C sharp, F sharp, and A sharp. F sharp triad over E, moving the alto voice to G sharp, and now moving the top voice to A sharp, E, C sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Moving backwards, E, C sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E, C sharp, D sharp, and B. And again, a plainable voicing, as we'll see in a little bit. E, C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. E, C sharp, D sharp, and G sharp. E, D sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. And moving backwards, E, C sharp, D sharp, and F sharp. E, B, D sharp, and G sharp, which is a voice expansion or an exchange for this voicing, the last inversion. A sharp on top, E, B, D sharp, and A sharp. E, moving ahead, E, F sharp, G sharp, and C sharp. So fifths and fourths on top. Now moving ahead to an F sharp, actually in the bass. E, this is an F sharp, E, A sharp, and B, or F sharp, moving the alto voice to G sharp, which is an E over F sharp. E, F sharp, F sharp, E, G sharp, and B. Top voice to C sharp. an 11th chord of sorts, which works as a 1 chord, F sharp, E, B, and D sharp. And the alto voice can move to C sharp. And then the top voice to C sharp, F sharp, E, B, and C sharp. Moving ahead now this way, G sharp, this voicing, G sharp, E, B, and D sharp. Voice exchange, E and D sharp exchange. G sharp, D sharp, B, and E. G sharp, E, B, and F sharp. Added note, voicing. Expand, the E's and F sharp exchange. G sharp, F sharp, B, and E. Top voice moves to D sharp, like a G sharp minor 7th. Top voice moves to C sharp. Also, G sharp minor 9 inside. G sharp, A sharp, B, and D sharp. Expand the top voice. Moves to F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, F sharp. So G sharp minor 9 on top of the E. Moving in this direction, G sharp, E, A sharp, and D sharp. Top voice to F sharp. Top voice to C sharp. Moving downwards, top voice to B. G sharp, E, A sharp, and B. Alto voice moves to F sharp. For added 9, G sharp, E, F sharp, B. Okay, moving to B. B, G sharp, D sharp, and E. Top voice moves to F sharp. The top two voices plain, so parallel seconds. B, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. We have an A sharp, G sharp, B, and E. Moving the top voice down, A sharp, G sharp, B, and C sharp. Moves to D sharp on top. Also, A sharp, B, E, and F sharp. A sharp, B, E, and G sharp. So sort of an E triad over an A sharp. B major 7th sounds are acceptable as well. B, A sharp, D sharp, and F sharp. Move the alto voice to C sharp. So F sharp over B. It's that rule of the fifths again. This and this. Both working. Movable at the 5th. Moving ahead now, we can start to use C sharp. So we use the relative minor. This is C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and E. So C sharp minor 9. We can also C sharp, B, D sharp, and E. Move the top two voices, the seconds, in parallel. D sharp and E become E and F sharp. That's C sharp, B, E, and F sharp. C sharp minor 7 proper, which would be there. C sharp, B, E, and G sharp. And of course the inside second, C, D sharp, E, and G sharp, and maybe a B on top as well. Moving to D sharp on top. D sharp, B, E, and G sharp. Top voice moves to F sharp. D sharp, B, E, and F sharp. Tenor voice moves to C sharp. Soprano voice moves to G sharp. D sharp, B, C sharp, and F sharp as well, with that inner voice motion. The C sharp going to E in the alto. can hear the cadences. And keeping in mind that certain formations can be planed, of course. For instance, this one, G sharp, F sharp, B, and C sharp, can move its way. Again, the fifths. So we can see that works just fine, and even just the regular B major. F sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and B move the bass to E, and we have the same formation. So that works as well. Also, this voicing, for instance, G sharp, B, B, and F sharp, preponderance of fifths. That can move to D sharp, B, F sharp, and C sharp. Also, this voice exchange works nicely here. G sharp, D sharp, B, and E, and maybe the top voice moving to F sharp, but this can also play out here as a cadence. D sharp, A sharp, F sharp, and C and B, and of course cadencing to E, B, F sharp, and A sharp. Top voice moves to G sharp or to C sharp. So those are the basic possibilities, an introduction to the major chords on 1, 2, 3, 5 string family on E.